are back. SLM Podcast. We've been gone for a little over a month. We're going to continue with the Salty Water story. We have Houston rap legend Powda on the phone. Powda, what's going on?
What's up with ya? It's good to be here.
Good. I appreciate you joining the show. We are still doing our 10 test episodes. So, Powder, since we got you here on the podcast, we always like to look back at, when we were doing our tours, when we were releasing our albums, and you guys, and we're always, the next big label, in Houston for, record labels. Rap A Lot was the king. You had Swisher House, but you also had Dope House and Salty Water, Latium that were doing their thing. You were a part of that. So when you first got into music, that's what I want to hear about first. What got you into music? Was it rap? Was it something else? How did music and Powder kind of mix the very first time?
Well, music it's always been a part of my life. I grew up in a family, we had a piano, and my older sisters would play, and I wanted to start playing at an early age. And so my mom put me in piano lessons when I was like 4.5, 5 years old, which I couldn't even imagine a 4 or 5-year-old right now taking piano lessons. But,
Right.
it was a different time. And she put me in piano lessons, and that started it. That started my interest in music, playing. And I was really good at playing by ear, listening to something and being able to play what I heard. So that was really I would say, the start of what gave me a love for music. A lot of people don't know this, but I am a classically trained pianist. Like I was trained on, how to play Beethoven and Mozart and Chopin all my life. I took lessons from the time I was 5 to the time I was about 15. So, that was where the love of music started, and it's still with me. I have a piano in my house to this day, and I play every day.
Oh, okay, nice.
So, that was the start. And then I started liking to sing when I got a little bit older, and I started singing in church. I know that's everybody's startup story, right? Singing in church. But it was true for me. And at a young age, I don't know if I'm a Catholic. So in Catholic church, there's usually just one person that stands up and sings, for the whole church, basically, and kind of brings everybody in to sing with them at certain points. So I started doing that. It's called a cantor. I started doing that when I was like 12, in front of a whole church. And that was what really started, like, I think my performance, my ability to be able to get up and perform. I was always in choir my whole life, starting from elementary all the way up. I would do competitions, singing competitions and stuff, and, always win first place. It was just, it was my life. It's all I ever did. I never played sports. I did singing, and I like theater. So I did singing and acting, and that's just what I like to do. So,
were you from Galveston as well, or were you from Houston?
No, I'm from Galveston. I'm from Galveston. Yeah. I grew up right there in the middle, like right there on 61st, as soon as you get into Galveston, right there by the bay.
Gotcha. I know that road very well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about when you started recording, when you were doing the Make It Hot song, the 1 in a Million. Tell me how that came about. Tell me, first, where did y'all record those at?
Well, I'll tell you how I met up with Salty Water.
Okay.
So I had a friend of mine, shout out to Courtney Lee, friend of mine. She took me to the studio one day with her. She was already friends with these guys. I didn't really know any of them, but she was friends with them, and she took me to the studio with her. She was like, yeah, you should come, we'll just hang out. We were just going to go over there to party, I guess.
Right.
And I will never forget walking in there, and just the vibe was just so dope. Like everybody was doing something, there was one guy over there in the recording room writing. Chalk was making beats. Punch was, I don't know, on a computer doing something in another room, and it was just such a dope vibe to me, and I liked it. I was like, wow,
Oh,
this is
okay.
pretty cool. And Chalk was making a beat, and I remember telling them like, hey, I can play piano.
Oh,
And they
okay.
were like, oh, for real? Yeah. All right, let's see. And I started just messing around on the keyboard. And they're like, oh, wow, like you can really play. And I don't know if we even did anything with anything that I played, but we were like looking, you know, thinking about it.
Right.
And I will say, because I played Fur Elise, that's a Beethoven song, right?
Oh,
And that's what Nas later made into a track. That na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na,
right.
na-na-na-na, the Fur Elise
Yeah.
track. I should have did it back then because that's what I played for him.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we were actually thinking about, doing a beat to that. And then Nas did it and, we lost our
We
chance.
lost.
But anyways, back to the point. So I just started playing, and, Ponch just took an interest. I guess
Okay.
he saw, hey, maybe she's got something.
Right.
And then Chalk was working on Muévele.
Oh,
That was
okay.
a song that we did on the Latin Legacy. I think it was on Latin Legacy. I'm not sure. But he was working on Muévele, and he was singing the hook and asked if I could sing it. And I just started singing it with him.
Oh,
And
okay.
then they winded up saying, oh, hey, we go ahead and put you on the track. Can you sing it? Like, can you record it? And that's how it all started.
Oh, wow.
So I recorded that. I don't remember if I did it that day or if I came back and did it at a later time,
Hmm.
but I recorded that track, and that's what really sparked the interest with Pancho V.
Oh, okay.
And he just kind of like kept, after that, he got my number and he just kind of kept calling me. And I guess you kind of say, like, I guess befriending me, just trying to get to know who I
Yeah.
was,
Oh,
just trying
okay.
to, and probably, he was a lot older than me. So he's probably just trying to get my mindset,
Yeah.
see where I was at, what I was doing, if I was going to be able to, come on board with them.
Oh, okay.
And shortly after that, that was it. And we just started, recording here, recording there, doing little things. Most everything that we did in the beginning, I want to say, was at the studio in Galveston.
Oh, okay.
It was I want to say, so I don't know, 50 something street.
Huh.
But that's where we started, at that studio.
Oh,
And
okay.
then later moved on to, other people's studios. But
Right. Oh,
that's
wow.
just how it happened. It was just real, just real,
Spontaneous.
yeah,
Yeah.
real spontaneous. It
Wow.
just happened, on a whim that I went over there with my friend that day.
Man, that's crazy.
What was your favorite place to record at?
Ah, my favorite place. You know, I want to say our last studio that we had, the last Salty Water studio in Houston that we had.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't even remember where it was at, or what the street was called, but somewhere kind of in downtown Houston, we
Hmm.
had a little spot, and that was a big deal,
Oh,
to
okay.
go from where we started in Galveston,
Right.
and for us to be able to actually get that spot. It was like, it was a big warehouse.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that was probably, I would say that, because it felt like a home.
Right. Oh, okay.
It felt like home. Like we, a lot of us stayed there a lot of the time.
Right.
you know
Yeah.
so it felt like a home. that
Oh,
was that
man.
was probably my favorite place. And of course, South Coast,
Right.
just because it's so awesome and
Yeah.
Right.
amazing
Yeah.
There you
and
go.
beautiful.
Exactly. Exactly.
Gotcha. That's a studio we wish was still here, up and
Yeah.
running.
Man, that studio was amazing.
Right.
That was the first time I walked into a studio and felt like, this is the real deal.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, this is where it's at. Like, I want to be in this place.
Yeah. Who were you working with over there? Was that Prodigy and Dirty Work, or was that just Prodigy?
I want to say both.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember who took me there first, but I was working with both of them. So it was, I want to say both, but mostly Prodigy,
Oh, okay.
Prodigy.
Gotcha. Okay. So when this is a question I remember asking a lot of people when I started coming up with questions on this. It's when you finally heard or realized that your songs were being played on the radio and you were actually catching like a real buzz. Do you remember where you were at and what you were doing?
I do. I remember I remember being in the car and hearing them,
Oh no.
and I don't remember what I was doing, but I just remember I think I was driving to Houston for something, and I just remember hearing songs, in the car. Um, it was surreal. I was so young. People
Right.
don't
Yeah.
realize I got in the game when I was 16. I probably got more serious about it when I was 17. So probably really started to record and things were on the radio by the time I was 17, but I started when I was 16.
Oh, okay.
So, to be that young and to have that to start to happen, and it was just surreal. Like I couldn't believe it.
Right.
And then once we started, being on the countdown was everything back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was everything. What song was number one that
Right.
week?
What
Exactly.
was it like top 5 of 5 or top 4 of 4, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I don't even remember, but it was everything back then.
Oh
To
man.
hear you were on the countdown like you were the most requested song, man, that feeling was amazing. And I'll never forget being in the car and hearing Make It Hot be number 1
Oh
Yeah.
man.
on the radio. Like that was just it was amazing. It's that feeling I will never forget. I forgot a lot of that time, but I will never forget that.
There you go.
Who produced that track? Was that one by Happy?
I think it was Hap.
I think it was. Hap. Yeah.
Because I know probably my favorite song all you guys did together was the Take It Off, and I think that one was
Oh,
Happy
man.
too.
Yeah, that was Hap.
I still bang that song to this day.
Something about that track. I mean, just that little synth he used at the beginning.
Man, and it's about to go
Yeah.
down. Like
Yeah.
I say that all the
Everybody-
time.
everybody
That's
does that
just in my
part.
vocabulary now is a phrase that I always say.
Is it?
Yeah, like I even put I put a post not too well maybe a few years ago on Facebook when I was about to get in the hot tub, and I was like, "It's about to go down" in my Tommy G voice.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's just part of my vocab now.
There you
That
go.
is actually one of my favorite songs too.
Right.
Yeah, that was jamming. I mean, to get you guys involved with the Lone Star Riders, I know was big. That
That
thing
was
was
huge.
reaching nationwide status for everybody out back then.
Right.
And I'm thinking about, just because you brought up Take It Off. That's how I remember doing that hook. And that's how all of our hooks kind of went. Like I remember we were just listening. We were in the studio with Happy P and we were just listening to the track. Man, it was such a dope track.
Mm.
And we were all just kind of sitting there, and you're trying to come up with a concept for the song.
Right.
And I think Pancho just started saying like, it just kind of sounded like a stripper song or something like that. And he was like, you just want to be like, take it off. And then I was like, yeah. And then so I just started, take it off, take it off, and it just
Started to
it
fit.
was just boom. It was so simple,
Wow.
but immediately everybody was like, get in there and do it. Do it. That's it right there. Get in there
Wow.
and do it. Same thing with Make It Hot. When we
Mm.
heard that track, Poncho's like, man, I just hear like, make it hot, mommy. Make it hot, mommy. Just that little bit he gave me.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll go with it. Make it hot, hot. And just started,
Wow.
vibing with that. And that's how it went. That's really how we created songs. Like
Wow.
him coming up with concepts, me coming up with the music behind it. There was a lot that he came up, he kind of had the music in his mind too, like 1 in a Million. That was all Punch. Like
Oh,
he
wow.
had that hook in his mind. Da-da-na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na-na. That's what he kept telling me. Like that's how he was telling me to do it. It's gonna sound like this. Like
Don't sound like
na-na-na-na-na. And it sounds so ridiculous, but
Right. But it
man,
worked.
that's all he had to do. That's all he had to give me.
Wow.
And I just, went with it and turned it into what it was.
That's crazy.
And that was a big one too on the
Yeah.
countdowns.
That's a
That one
massive
stayed on
hit.
the countdown for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Number
one of the
one
ones
for a hot minute.
Charles Chavez did a remix to, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't really like that remix, but
Oh.
I like the original.
No.
Something
Yeah.
about that Chalk did that beat, and I really, really, I like the original.
Right.
But we recorded that track at Latium.
Oh, okay.
Where
Yeah,
do
we
you
did
remember
that.
where their studio was?
I don't. Somewhere in Houston, but I couldn't tell you. like I said, those days for me are kind of a blur for many reasons, but
Probably
those
Southwest. I'm
days are
thinking
kind of a
Southwest.
blur. I don't remember
Uh,
where anything was.
Gotcha.
Somewhere in the vicinity of Pen and Pixel, I want to say, because I know it was around that area, but
yeah.
Pen and
I don't
Pixel
remember.
was, God, I don't even remember. I can see the building like in my head,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't remember. Same thing with like Southwest. I remember the building, the
That
big
was
white
way out there off
building
Magnum. That was way over there.
with no signage or anything.
Yeah, that's way out there.
Yeah.
And
Man, Pen and Pixel, that was
Yeah.
that was I felt like that was a big deal too back then,
Right.
yeah.
to be able to go in there with these pictures and then be able to put you, underwater. We just thought that was it was so dope to us. Now, if people saw an album cover like that, they'd probably be like, what are they doing?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
that's
were ahead of their time.
Sean from Pen and Pixel now has that artwork all online for people to buy. He does it as fine art.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
He has art displays out and everything. I saw some stuff on him where he'll do like a whole kind of like art release. They'll have them at places, and people will come in, and you'll see every single album cover he has on the wall.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when we were starting to get ready to do my album that was supposed to come out with Salty Water. It was called Highly Addictive. It was supposed to be, my coming out solo album. And we, went with Pen and Pixel to do the cover. And I remember them just being like, yeah, we're going to make you look like, like the Ice Queen. You're going to stand in front of like this just mountain of snow. And it's just so silly. But, back then that was the shit to have that.
Did you ever see a picture or a mock-up of it?
Oh, yeah. I have it somewhere.
Oh, do you?
I have it somewhere.
Yeah,
because I did the photo shoot and everything.
I guarantee you Sean still has that artwork.
Oh, I'm sure. I had like purple lips.
Did you?
I guess I was supposed to just be really cold. Like I was surrounded by like ice, and there was some kind of car in the background with ice just everywhere. And yeah, it's now that I look back, I'm like, that's ridiculous. What were we thinking? But that was the shit back then.
That was it. Yeah.
Yep. If you didn't have that blingy cover to
bling.
catch people's eye when you walked in.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think Master P was the best at that.
Yeah.
Master P got people to buy albums from one single and some artwork.
Yep.
For all his artists, he gave them one hot single, one video, and some dope looking artwork back then.
Yeah.
And they were going gold and platinum off those things.
Exactly.
Yep. You're right.
Yep. So that was your work you were doing with Salty Water and everybody. You did get a lot of work done on the Dope House side as well. You want to get into any of that on, working with those guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I met SPM around the same time that I had just met Lifestyle. They were he was doing a show down in Galveston with them, and that's where I met him. And so we were cool back then. Like I don't even know if I was necessarily signed to Salty Water yet. Maybe I was just hanging with them or something. But I met him back then. And, back then I was doing like little odd, little modeling gigs, where people needed like a model for a CD cover or something, or doing backup dancing.
Oh, okay.
That was like, just what I did. A little, I was just a dancer really.
Right.
And I remember him, asking me to do the merry-go-round video.
Okay.
So that was actually the first time I ever worked with Dope House, was being a backup dancer in the merry-go-round video. Yeah, I don't even think I was signed to Salty Water yet. I was just kind of, doing stuff with them, but not necessarily signed.
I see. Okay.
And that's how I first met them. So I have a really long relationship with Dope House,
Right.
It started back then.
Oh, okay.
And then, when I left Salty Water, they of course were the first people that I reached out to, because that was like also family to me.
Right.
And of course, yes, there was a lot of conflict that went with that. It was hard to do, but that to me was like the safest move, because
Okay.
that was my people too,
Yeah.
But I did do a lot of things, a lot of work with Dope House. I have an entire album that's
Okay.
sitting there in their archives, um, that never got released,
Oh
unfortunately.
man.
So when I first got there, we started recording Reverly Park. That
Oh,
was the
okay.
first. I think I want to say the first track I actually did with them, which is a banger.
Right.
It's I Need a Sweet.
There
It's
you go.
me, Baby Bash, and SPM.
Hmm.
It's a remake of I Need a Freak.
Right.
And that song was, man, that song could have been big. It really could have been big. And it's unfortunate the way that things happened, because, leaving Salty Water, it caused a lot of legal conflict as well.
I see.
There was that issue, so we couldn't get it played on the radio when we wanted to. And then, other things happened after that. Then Carlos got locked up, and,
Yeah,
that it,
we pushed that song. Me and Tino were helping Olivia and them down in South Padre for spring break. That song, we played that song all day long, night and day.
man,
We were
that song
pushing
was
those
a banger.
posters.
That song should have been big.
Yeah.
It really should have, because Bash was getting a lot of play. I think, wow, I don't remember if Sugar Sugar had already been released. So
Yeah.
he had a lot of play.
Right.
He was blowing up, and to be on a track with him was huge,
Right.
at that time.
Definitely.
And I also did a track with him on that Sugar album called Menage a Trois, him
Oh
and
yeah, I
Frankie
remember
J.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was to me, that was a little bit, I know he wasn't signed with, he was signed with Universal, I think, at the time.
Oh, okay.
But to me, that was still me working with Dope House, because to me, he's always going to be Dope House,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where it started. And then I started to record my album. Like I said, that's, Angel Dust was going to be the name of that album, but
Oh, okay.
it's just sitting there somewhere in their archives.
Who was recording that? Were you recording with Payne on that one?
Yeah, Payne
Okay.
recorded pretty much, I want to say, that whole album.
Oh wow.
Mixed and mastered it. Yeah.
What
Yeah,
kind
he
of vibe?
recorded
What
all
kind of
that.
vibe did that thing have?
It didn't have the right vibe. I feel like it had a lot of anger.
Oh
It
really?
had an angry vibe at first.
Oh no.
Because I was bitter. I was bitter about the way that things went.
Yeah.
Because that's not at all what I wanted. I
Exactly.
didn't want to leave Salty Water. It
Right.
just, it just didn't work out.
Right.
And I was bitter about not getting paid. And that was a huge, it caused a lot of bitterness in me. I was mad that I didn't get paid, and I see us making moves. I'm like, we are moving into this big warehouse, we can afford to do all of this stuff,
Right.
but I'm not making any money. So, it's a good thing that I did leave. And it was a huge difference when I left from there and then going to Dope House, where, they're immediately like, of course we're going to pay you. We'll give
Right.
you a signing bonus. You sign with us, you get money up front. I was like, what? You give me money up front? To me, that was just unheard of. Like, what, you're going to pay me? And they were very, very, they were by the book. Like, their contracts were legit. Every song you did had a contract. They paid you. You agreed to whether you wanted to get up front or you wanted your royalties. Everything was just, it was on a whole different level.
I see. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
feel like in the beginning, the transition, it was hard because there was bitterness there.
Right.
So I think that vibe was a little angry at first.
Okay.
And then once things started to settle down, it got better. But it's just, no one will ever know.
Yeah.
No one will ever know what that album had.
Exactly.
It has some good songs on there, but I don't know, maybe one day they'll bust it out. I was told that they lost most of it, so.
Yeah, they lost a couple of our projects too.
I'm not even gonna get into that because you're gonna see a side of Tino that you don't want to see. And
well, yeah, I was told that they lost most of it, so who knows, where it is or what.
My anger comes because I paid up front for all that studio time.
Oh no.
There was a whole thing about I'll just say this. I was doing my part to show that I was cool with the jar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, yep, I'm here. I can help y'all out. You guys are helping me out.
Right.
Here's cash up front for this.
Mm.
And nothing was given to us in return.
Oh, wow.
So
that's not cool.
Yeah, but that's that whole other side of Dope House, not the front house of Dope House. Sylvia was always cool with me. Tootie was always straight up with me. Olivia is like another member of our family.
Yeah, she's like our aunt.
This was the lady that, she never had to, but she was the one that kind of brought us along on all those shows, those tours. She went to Sylvia. She was like, hey, I got these guys. They can open up for you. Next thing I knew, Sylvia was asking for us, and that's how we kind of caught on. So, those sides and, the OGs, Rashid, Grim, Low G, Shadow, those guys always been straight up and real with us. So,
yeah,
there's a difference. I know, they're in the music business.
Yeah.
What we always have to remember to tell people that it is a business.
Exactly.
There are people that are straight up. There are people that are real with you. And then there's those people that just don't know how to do the business side. Correct.
Yeah.
So.
That's very true. That's very true. And I'll have to say, when I first got with Salty Water, it was growing.
Right.
It was growing. And I don't think anybody really knew how to handle the business side of it.
Okay.
So I can't say, it was all intentional to do things like that, but I was just always told, like I was paying dues.
Right.
I paid a lot of dues. I paid a lot. I was like, damn, when is the dues over?
Right.
How long do you pay dues? How long do you sit here and do all these songs and have all these hits and not get anything for it?
I see.
There was a lot of albums sold back then.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot. And what I was told when I asked, what about all these albums sold? We can't get nothing from that. I was told these albums paid a lot of bills. So that's what all my hard work did. It paid a lot of bills. I didn't get any money for any shows. I finally, once I started booking Powda shows, where I was the headliner, then I would get some of that money. Not even all of it. There was still cuts taken.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Did you get the famous? All right, you get 3 G's for the show. Okay, but tonight we can only pay you $1,700.
Right.
We used to see that all the time.
I mean, there was always a percentage taken for management. Management's got to have their fee. The booking people have to have their fee. So there was just you get this, but this person gets this much, and this person gets this much, and this is what you left with.
I see.
And I had to get my own shows to even get to that point.
Oh, okay.
So, that was just really hard. But they were a growing business, and it was hard. And, it was really just one person doing all the business side of it.
Oh,
so,
okay.
All the rest of us were artists.
Right.
There was only really just Pancho V trying to do everything, trying to be an artist, trying to be a manager, trying to do the business. So I can imagine that's hard.
It's taking a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot to do. And you're a growing company, and you want to invest everything in your company,
right?
To try to build it, and he did that. We got a bigger studio, we got shirts, we got merchandise, we got all of those things, but you got to take care of people too, You got to take care of people too. And I guess that's a hard thing to balance.
I see.
But when I went to Dope House, like I said, it was just different. They already had all that together. The business was already set. There was soldiers.
Right.
They would say Dope House soldiers. They had soldiers, like real soldiers that were in line, just taking care of everything.
I see.
And a tight-knit family that was taking care of everything. So it's just a whole different game over there.
Okay.
But I remember, when I first got there, there was a lot of love, but it also wasn't the most welcoming, because here I am. I just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists that have been waiting.
Taking someone's spot. Yeah.
Exactly. There's a lot of artists. And that's the same thing that happened with Salty Water. When I got with Salty Water, they had artists. There was a whole group, Worldwide Riders.
Right.
There was a whole group there that was waiting to put an album out. And then
Yeah.
I come out of nowhere, start doing these songs, and they're on the radio. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, well, Powder's album's coming out next.
Mm,
Oh, that was, that caused some heat.
I see.
What? You know what? We've been here. We've been putting in all this. Well, we got to go with what's hot.
Right. Oh,
Same thing happened to Dope House. I come out of nowhere. Oh, we're going to do a Powder album now. What? All these people been waiting.
Yeah.
You know, they were all been in line. They all want studio time. So it was hard, coming into that situation. It wasn't always, open arms with everybody. A lot of people were bitter that I was just coming in and getting to go to the front of the line.
I see. Yeah.
So studio time was a battle, especially, when Carlos was gone.
Yeah.
Then it really turned into a battle. Because when he was out and he was there to kind of say what was priority, it was different.
Right.
But once he got locked up, it was kind of all on Tootie, and Tootie's trying to do a million things. So it was hard.
I see. Okay.
It was hard. But once I guess somebody made it clear, I actually did get in, and do the whole album.
Yeah.
So it's just really unfortunate that it didn't get to come out, because a lot of hard work went into that.
So you had some recent news from Carlos, right? Possibility of something coming up?
Yeah, it was crazy. Carlos called me. I haven't talked to him in years, and he called me out of the blue. I want to say maybe July or August, or maybe June or July. Yeah, because I remember telling him my birthday was coming up. So maybe June.
Oh, okay.
He called me of last year out of nowhere and asked me to do the Day of Unity tour. He was trying to make it a tour at the time.
I see.
And asked me to do it. And of course, SPM calls you from jail and asks you to do something. You don't say no. Y'all know, because y'all have asked me several times, like, to do things, and I'm just like, I'm out of the game. I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to look back. Like, I have moved on completely. I'm out of the game. I don't want to do it.
Right.
But when he calls, after everything he's done for me, the person that he's been to me, he's always been so good to me. I couldn't say no.
Right.
Of course, I had to do it. So I said, okay, I'll do the tour. Well, then he said that they couldn't get venues, in time. So he's like, we're just going to do a show. It's the 25th anniversary of Dope House. It's a big deal.
Right.
So, but we're just going to do the Day of Unity show. So I did that. Well, as we're talking, we talked several more times over the phone, about what we were going to do and this and that. And, and he just kind of wanted to fill me out too and see like where I was as far as doing music again. And, I told him, I was like, I kind of wanted to shut that door, but, he just talked to me for a while, and he was just like, man, Powder, you don't want to let it go. We need to do something. We don't need to sleep on all this talent that you got. Cause regardless of everything, you still have talent.
Right.
He's like, we can't sleep on this. We got to do something. So, so he's talking, he said he wanted to start doing some songs, pretty soon. I think when he gets out is really when we'll start. Probably says he's going to get it out in about 2 years, which is great news.
Wow.
So, we might be, there might be some music in the works.
All right.
Coming up soon. And I don't know if the tour's still going to happen. I know he said that they were going to start trying to book one for this year, but I haven't heard anything yet. So we'll see.
Wow. That is big news.
Yep. But, like we were talking about before, I said I do want to start it again, even if it's just a hobby, because it is still in me.
Yeah.
It hasn't left. It hasn't gone anywhere. I don't really have a desire to be like I was back in the day, because obviously life is a lot different now.
Definitely. Yeah. Whatever happened to that one album? Remember I went with you to that studio, you had that full project ready to go? And you had about 5 or 6 real good songs on that project. Whatever happened to that one? You still have that project?
What are you talking about? The Flow mixtape?
Is that what it was? The one we went out to that studio? I forgot what it was called. Yeah, you had the whole project. You had it in your hand. You were ready to hand it over.
Yeah. I did that. I don't remember the year. I want to say maybe 2008, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I started itching, wanting to do something, because I had been out of the game for a while, and I just, like I said, the music is there, it's in you,
Yeah.
So I just started itching, wanted to do something. And the easiest thing to do is a mixtape because, you don't have to go through all the red tape and do all of that other stuff and get tracks and everything from people. So it's easy to just jump on some instrumentals and put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And that was actually, there are really some good songs.
Yeah.
I hate that didn't really,
I
didn't really promote it the way that I should have.
No, there was some real good songs on there.
There's some real good songs on there. I still have the CD.
Do you?
And yeah. I'm actually really proud of that because I was finally in a different place in my life.
Mm.
A happier place, and I feel like I was, actually able to do some good music that I felt good about.
There you go. Yeah.
That I could be proud of.
Exactly.
So yeah, that one meant a lot to me.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you still have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Powda, I definitely want to thank you for jumping on the show.
Yeah.
We definitely will bring you back. And since you're talking about getting that itch again, we got this open studio here. But to tell you the truth, like our old music, all the ones we had in stores, we actually are remixing and remastering every single album.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so we already have like the first piece done. It's going to be the 20th anniversary for us, so that music coming out. It's all remixed, remastered. So studio session work and, bring Powda in to fill up some of those old hooks.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You heard it. We got it recorded.
But
nice. I'm ready.
I appreciate you joining the show. Like I said,
Always.
we definitely will bring you back again. Just want to make sure everyone understands the SLM podcast will soon be coming. I have to make a decision on where it will be distributed to.
Mm-hmm.
These episodes you will catch on our website, slm.buzz, or on YouTube's page, Support Local Music. So make sure to check those out. We will get it distributed here soon. I have to finish our 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So we got some more guests coming at you. We're going to be bringing Booker T and Charmel coming in.
Trying to get them still, yeah.
And then we're going to get into the Dope House story. So I definitely going to get into that and then bring some of the aggravated, most hated guys back in. And I will be launching this year's Support Local Music Awards show update here soon.
Yeah.
I'll have a date for everybody on that. Powda, you need to make it out to one of those shows, the SLM Awards show at the end of every year.
Definitely.
That thing gets packed and crazy, and every genre of music you can think of, rock, metal, reggae, rap, country, pop, all performing on 2 different stages.
Yeah.
I'm still trying
nice.
to get back to the 3 stages, but it's a little difficult, but
it is.
I definitely do have the 2 stages running, so we'll get that going. I'll have that date for everyone here soon. But thank you, Powda, for joining us.
I appreciate it.
This is Don-Tino here, signing off for the SLM Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good one. Thank you, Powda.